George Carlin actually put this very similar: is your pain and your suffering when it relates to drugs goes on a seesaw. In the beginning, your joy and your suffering, it goes on a seesaw. So in the beginning, drugs or any type of pills, alcohol, whatever it may be, it's very little pain and a lot of joy. And then what happens over time is that seesaw starts to turn. It starts to turn. And then all of a sudden, you realize very quickly that it's mostly pain and very little joy. And that's when you know it's time to stop, right? That's when you know you always want to try to keep it level. Not too much joy, but not too much pain. And I think we've all gone too far at that at some point in our lives. Now, Cathy, you've seen this stuff. Does it sort of keep you away from the bad behavior? Or do you still exhibit the bad behavior? I don't know.
No, I guess you could say that I learn from it. I see other people's experiences. So I kind of know what to expect. And I see it more, actually, like people at work. I see the signs. I see the way they express themselves, their negativity. So I guess it helps me. I guess you could say that I've been lucky, I guess, to be here and to see it from its roots. So that's the way I see it.
So, Erica, did you get anything really beneficial from Florida House, or you did your time?
I did get some tools in Florida House. They have a first responders program, so I got more from the people in there, meaning the other addicts.
How about from a suicide perspective? Did you get any tools in there about that?
I got tools on how to be in the present and ground and try to snap my way out of it, like wake up from the funk. But I don't feel that I understood why. That I think I gained at Warrior's Heart. It was two different programs. They were both good in their own way. But I feel that Warrior's Heart was more beneficial to me understanding my own mind and feelings.
So you went, there was 3 years between your two rehabs?
Yes.
So you get out, I guess, I'm assuming you relapsed.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. What pushed you to go to Warrior's Heart? Was it a relapse or was it?
What pushed me there, I think, honestly, is issues at work, issues in my marriage, me not working the program, not going to meetings, not going to my therapist anymore, not taking my medications religiously. And
well, you especially need to read this book, this 14,
I would love
14
to.
and Second. I'm going to tell you why. Because Charlie was when he moved to Nebraska, he became a corrections officer. That's sort of how we're tied in to him very closely. But Charlie was an addict when he was younger. And you'll find out very clearly why he was an addict in here. But he's been sober for 30 years plus, somewhere around
that's
there.
Amazing.
But he still works the program. He still works the program. And that's interesting because I've heard the term plenty of times. I don't work the program. I just don't ever want to go back to rehab. I was that kid who got scared straight. But so you get out of Florida House, and maybe it gave you a tool or two to ground you to just not run so quickly to your inevitable end. Because I hate to tell you, Erica, you are going to die one day. It's inevitable. There's no reason we got to hurry it up.
Yes.
You know?
Don't speed up the process.
Listen, it's coming for us no matter what. We all have an expiration date. So you get out, and I'll bet you when you got out, I'm never doing it again. I'm cured. I'm good. What was the first time that you relapsed, that you went back in?
With the pills, I think it was after my shoulder surgery because I got the Percocet again.
Which is horrible because it's perfectly legal.
And I needed, and then you just have extra, and then one day you're having a fight with your significant other, and then it's like, you know what, fuck you. And then I'm the type that I self-sabotage by inflicting pain on myself rather than you.
You sure we're not brother and sister?
We could be. And then I'll take, you know what, fuck you, so I'm going to take 5, and hurt myself,
Yeah.
basically.
You got to wash it down with some liquor too if you really want to go full bore.
Oh, I have.
How does this make you feel? I'll take 5 Percocet. I hope you're happy now.
Yeah,
like you said,
yeah.
it's self-sabotaging
And it's
yourself.
like, I just don't want to feel this. And then I'm in La La Land and I'm happy. I'm listening to music and I'm sleeping. And
But then but the problem with those painkillers, because I got hooked on it after shoulder surgery. I got 3 months, and he said, take it as prescribed. So that's what I did. I listened to the friggin' doctor, and I took it as prescribed. And next thing you know, I'm like, well, I got to get back to work, so I better get off this stuff. And I try to just stop cold turkey because we're cops, we're idiots. And that didn't work out so well.
yeah, no.
I knew what junkies felt.
Did you add the muscle relaxer?
I'm sorry, not junkies. Hold on. Again, getting back to Charlie, it's no longer junkies. I had a problem. I had an addiction.
Yes.
So
And then you add the muscle relaxer here.
mine was Klonopin and alcohol because I became a real cheap date.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, which is really super dangerous, just so you know. Please do not do that. Klonopin intensifies alcohol. So 2-3 Klonopin, I drank half as much.
Cheap date.
I am a cheap date. 5 Klonopin and some alcohol, I was a really cheap date. And if I really wanted to go full bore, that's when the handful came in. And that was one attempt. That was
Gotcha.
one attempt.
Yeah.
So you get out, you relapse with after shoulder surgery. I know there's addicts that will never take painkillers again, and they'll just live with the pain. Because when you get off those, and that's something I wanted to talk to you about, 'cause especially with painkillers, when you did finally stop, how bad did it hurt?
Honestly, it didn't hurt me that much because they were supplementing me at Florida House with something else. I don't remember what it was, but I didn't feel it. And also, I was in the environment with Gen Pop, so I was watching my back all the time. My hypervigilance kicked up. So I feel like that numbed the feelings also. And then I was so angry that I was there because it was a locked facility and I didn't know that till I got there. So the rage is my go-to. So me flipping my bed and throwing shoes at the staff, that got me over that hump of feeling, I guess, the detox off the pills.
Because I
So
remember,
you were a model patient then.
Oh, they loved
Flipping
me.
your bed, throwing shoes. And
Yeah, I was a mess.
I remember coming off of them and your pain receptors awaken. And the pain, it's just like, oh, God, everything hurts. But I did something similar. When I went to, I forget where it was, but I know it was St. Clair's in Denville. So I went to the psych ward. It was after an attempt, and then security, all I wanted to do was get some sleep. So I closed the curtain. Well, you can't close the curtain. And they kept coming and opening up, and the lights would shine in my eyes. And then I become real belligerent. And then there's security guards that start surrounding me. And I start laying into these security guards. You rent-a-cop motherfuckers.
Square
Look at you,
badge.
Square badge, you piece of shit. You can't get a real job. I was really mean to these people.
Oh,
to
yeah.
the point where I had to go back and, after I cleaned up, I went back and apologized. I'm like, look, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But that's what it does.
Yes.
We're sitting here as 4 rational individuals, and we're
see,
putting.
thank God he went back and apologized because that's now how he lives in the psych ward. Because that's where he actually lives.
Yeah, because
now.
I'm around him too much.
He's just like on release today.
They let me out like once a week.
You get a pass.
I get a pass. But we're rationalizing totally irrational behavior because we're removed from it. So that.
But it's real. It's going on to people every day out there.
Yeah, it is. Because you make your own reality at that point. And that's kind of what you did. So walk us down the path. You had a 3-year process. It started. How soon after you get out of Florida House did you start taking pills again?
2 years.
Oh, so you had a 2-year run. Was it
Yeah.
difficult at any time? Did you almost slip?
No, because I still drank here and there socially. But if I did take a pill, like you said, after that, right? I remember taking a pill at the boxing match.
Oh yeah.
I had taken a pill and then I had literally 2 drinks, I feel like, and I was falling all over the place. So I would tell myself, never drink when I'm out. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Or don't take a pill with drinking.
With drinking.
So I would make deals with myself. Like, all right, you could take a pill tonight if you don't drink.
Or you could drink tonight if you don't take a
Yeah.
pill. Vice versa. Yeah.
Like making those deals because remember, I'm not an addict. To
No,
me.
no. But addicts are real good at justifying their behavior. They're
Yeah.
really good. Well, I only do this. I'm only going to drink tonight. I can handle this. I'm only going to do this once. Well, once turns into twice, so forth and so on, and which ends you into warrior's heart.
Right. Warrior's Heart was Brad. He had noticed my behavior at. We did a commercial
The
or
video?
something.
The video.
And-
That's okay, Mike
video
and I
that
were
we were
involved.
up there.
Yeah.
They cut Mike out of
I
it.
think I asked you guys if you wanted something to drink that day.
Like
I know I
like
asked
drink
Brad.
drink?
Yeah, and Brad was like, "We don't drink." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, gee, thanks, Brad. Speak for me. Good
You
job.
didn't ask me. I would have taken one.
Yeah.
So, I think one day I was on a couple pills, and I think I was drinking, and I forgot how it happened. It's a blur, but we were talking on the phone, and then the next day he was calling me, and I wouldn't answer because now I'm okay. So I don't need to.
You're in the beginning of the video, too.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
Yeah.
And then he came to my house. I don't know. He must have asked Danny where I live. I don't know how he knew where I live. Now, if people don't know Brad, he's like 6'6".
He's a mountain of a man.
I don't know what, like
6'6",
350
my
pounds.
He's
Solid.
taller than 6'6".
So I had only seen him that one day at the shoot, and he comes knocking on my door. My son-in-law lets him in. He comes straight to my room. He's like, "I thought you were dead. We're leaving right now. You're going to Warrior's Heart." And I'm like, "The fuck I am." And now this huge guy, and I'm this little thing, and I'm like arguing with him how I'm not going. And he looked at me. He's like, "I will pick you up and I will take you." And then I remember my husband tried to come in the room, and then he closed the door in his face and was like, "I need to talk to her." And my husband saw how big he was and just turned around and left. Like,
What if he was there for nefarious purposes?
I know.
Yeah, it's like, sure, thanks, hon. Thanks, hon.
And he got my plane ticket paid. He got me there, basically. He got me to Warrior's Heart where he had been, and it was mostly Marines and Army men. There were about 50 men, and I think there was 5 of us women. And
Oh, jeez, can you imagine? Maybe we should do the whole episode on the suffering of being the only woman in that facility.
no, it's not like that. They were all like brothers and everybody. I promise you, like you would think it's like that. It is not.
It wasn't like that in front of you.
No.
I hate to tell you,
I
but
know we always say the same
I
thing.
know.
it
Those
wasn't
guys-
like that in front of
Those
you.
guys went into their bunks that night.
Yeah.
They're like,
I
"Hey."
was there for 3 months, and they were like brothers, and I really understood. We do need to do a show about rehab because there's so much I have to say. But
Oh, there's tons of stuff.
there's so much.
Now, when you went to Warrior's Heart, was it still the same suicidal ideology going on? Was it still there? Or
it was
that
starting.
okay?
It wasn't full fledged like it was when I went to Florida House. That was I was there.
Yeah.
But I recognized that it was starting. And then I have a grandson coming along, and that's what kept me from going over the edge. So I was like, I do need help. I need to clean myself up before he gets here, And Warrior's Heart was very different. I expected it to be like Florida House, so I was very on guard, but it was very different. It was more of a family.
Speaking of that, we deal a lot with mental health on this program. That's basically the Suffering Podcast. If you're going to break it down to its most basic elements, it's mental health. But something that goes hand in hand with mental health is your physical health. And we just want everybody to take a look at X Bodies. So going hand in hand with mental health is physical health. Go over to X Body in Wayne. They'll do things like the IV infusions. They'll do testosterone therapy. They'll do gut checks. They'll do bone density. They'll do physical therapy. Things to get your body in shape so you can start focusing on your mind. So go ahead and take a look at X Body. Follow us on Instagram. We'll put a link to our show notes. So did they have a place for you to work out to get your body healthy along with your mind?
They really did.
Yeah.
They had that. They had canine, which is you go and you help out with the dogs. You help to train them.
Dog therapy. Nice.
And they-
I like
Dog
that.
therapy is good.
It's amazing. And then they get adopted out by warriors, people who are there or people who need service dogs. And they're certified.
Like combat veterans. And
Exactly. And you're involved with that process. And if you chose to do that, you can purchase the dog as well.
Really?
If you get attached to a certain dog.
I would take home every
I
dog.
would
Yeah,
take home
me too.
everyone. Exactly.
All of them.
I'd take home every
They're
dog.
amazing. And what's great is, like, let's say you started flipping out because he stole your candy bar.
I flip out on him all the time. Don't worry
They
about
would bring the dog to your dog that you've been working with to you to calm you down.
it. So if you get nervous in here, just flip out on Mike. He'll take it.
Who are you
Give
going
me-
to bring in here to calm me down?
I'll give you a candy bar.
Don't worry about it. It'll all work out in the end. But that's great though, because it's a facility where you felt accepted, and I'm telling you right now, the guys had things going on in their mind. We're guys. It's just gonna happen.
I hated it at first because there were only 5 cops there. There was 5 cops and then 5 women, but the women were all in the Army or various branches of, and it was mostly Marines. So they kept talking their jargon, and I felt completely lost.
Yeah,
I
you have
didn't wanna
nothing
be
in
there.
common at that point.
Yes, and now I know how people feel when we're all around talking our 10 codes and whatnot. They don't understand what we're saying.
Well,
But for the first time,
I've been retired for like almost 9 years, so I am now more civilian than cop, and I translate for people.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm a translator.
But for the first time, I see how people feel when that's happening, But
I bet you it changed your bedside manner.
I was on my
police
P's and Q's.
work. For police work. You know what it's like to be in a locked facility.
Over there, absolutely, because I would say, well, there is a heroin addict. I would never be friends with a heroin addict. They're addicts. That's who I arrest. And I ended up becoming friends with a heroin addict, a very close friend. And she is the smartest woman I've ever met in my life.
Really?
Conniving. She could get what she wants.
Most
but
of them are.
smart. And then it changed
Any woman
my
can
views.
get whatever they want. Stop with that. Any woman. They got this magical power over all
Yeah,
guys. And
this
they don't
one.
realize
Yeah.
it. Yeah. But that's great. So you get out, you do the program.
Forget it.
What's changed?
What changed is that it changed me in the way that I don't judge people anymore, because that, as they say, addict, I don't want to say crackhead, in the street that I used to look at and feel a certain way about, a judgmental way.
Look
now
down
I'm
on 'em.
like, I could have the same problem they have. And I just thank God, by the grace of God, I'm in this position and not that position.
You're one step away.
Just going to say the same
Exactly.
thing. We're all one step away
One
at any
domestic
point.
away
Yeah.
from losing your job.
Now, do you don't live in the town you work in?
Hell no.
Okay, because I live in the town I work in now. So, and I deal with the police a lot with
You
my
don't
current
shit
job.
where you eat. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, well, no. I wasn't a cop. I wasn't a cop in the town I live in now, but I work in the town I live in now, and the cops have been to my house a couple times when I was tying it on, and my belligerent self just drank right in front of them. I'm like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
I lived in the town I worked in. I used to walk to work every day. I lived a half a block from headquarters.
Oh, Jesus.
It was terrible.
So how did you both,
Convenient, but terrible.
how did you both get involved in Moment of Silence? So for those of you who don't know, Moment of Silence, it works on blue suicide. We work to erase this epidemic. All right, because at one time we all get down on yourself, and if the normal person is lost to suicide, because it's not commit suicide, we lose each other to suicide. It's just a suicide. When blue suicide happens, for some reason it just, I don't know, maybe because I'm tied into the police community, it just seems a little bit more tragic, because these are people who are put in charge of helping other people, and we're really good at helping other people, but we're really bad at helping ourselves.
They're the strong people that are supposed to be protecting everybody, and we're eating all our feelings, and officers become suicidal, and that's the strong person that's supposed to help you. Meanwhile, they're not helping themselves.
So, Cathy, give us a window, and I'm sure you've spoken to enough people who have tried it.
Okay.
Give us a window into what the mindset is of an officer who is contemplating suicide.
Oh man, I have heard so many stories. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, everybody, the person you least expect is probably going through something that you don't even know. Like, for example, Erica. Erica's the perfect example. When I first met her, I've never in a million years would I have thought that, she was suffering deep inside.
And we all have guns, too, which makes it
is-
real easy.
Which makes it
Yeah.
easier.
Because the other ones are usually just attempts. They're just attempts.
Well, the gun part, to me, all I kept thinking is my kids are going to have to clean this up.
You're very fortunate. I'm going to tell you why you're very fortunate, because you had that forethought. Because when my gun went in my mouth, I was in my house. I was downstairs while everybody was upstairs sleeping, thinking, same thoughts. They're better off without me. I never once thought about that.
Who did we have on the show? I think it was the sniper.
Oh God,
When
he
he
said
said
he wants to be courteous, so he goes out and gets a shower
He
curtain.
gets a shower curtain because he didn't want to make the room a mess after.
my
Well,
God.
no, his plan was to go get a shower curtain and a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he was going to drink, and then he was going to do it, but he got the bottle of Jack Daniels and forgot the shower curtain, so he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, that was his thing. That was why he didn't do it. So, yeah, that's Steve. We can't say Steve's last name, but
Steve the Sniper.
Steve the Sniper, right?
Wow.
But yeah, so you be courteous. But I didn't have that forethought. You're fortunate that you had it.
I think if we took a poll of how many officers tasted their gun, it'd be more than 90%.
I still remember it.
That's so scary.
I still remember what
I
it
think
tastes
people
like.
don't admit it, but if you got in a room and really got down to people who don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks, and we talked about our fucking feelings raw and out there, they would admit it that they've tasted it at some point in their career.
So Mike and I we haven't in a while because of the pandemic, but we go to group therapy, and it's one place where we feel safe about that. And we do it in such a way that's probably not the healthiest because we joke about it more than anything else. Everybody's afraid of doing it and doing it wrong, because then you screw yourself up for the rest of your life. Like, if I do it, I want to do it right. But you've been on, as police officers, we've all been on enough suicides, and we see the aftermath, which is shocking to me that we would even think about continuing to do it. And just so you know, I just pulled this statistic today off of bluehelp.org. It's on 2022, as of today, there's been 62 suicides, blue suicides, as of today. And I think the highest was in 2019, which, again, I think that's got something to do with lockdown. We were at 249. So I think we're 0.3 or 4% higher than the national average of any other profession. So why? Like, why is it the stress from the job? Is it the shift work? Is it the what you see? If you had to think of some reasons why blue suicide is such at an epidemic level, what do you think it would be?
Honestly, for me,
you can lie to me.
It's the stress of, I think, internal structure, which is the people that we depend on to guide us are so afraid of social media and everything like that. They make our job harder. Like, if you're doing your job, you can lose it quicker. And I think that stress, plus then you have home stress. Everybody hates the cops now. That's an added stress. And what we see, we stuff it down, because if we saw a dead body or something, we'll joke about it. We'll go drink about it. But we're not talking about it.
See, that's what we call filling the glass. Every time you see something, you keep filling a glass with water and filling a glass with water. Sooner or later, if you don't help yourself, that glass is going to spill over.
Well, if you weren't such a dickhead, you would have been here for my opening, and you would have heard that's how I spoke about.
Well, you're afraid to do openings in front of me because you stumble on yourself all the time. You look like an idiot.
One of the statistics that I threw out, and I actually threw it out in the Moment of Silence video, is the average person sees one, maybe two critical incidents throughout their life. The average police officer in a 20-year career sees about 800. So take your worst day. If you're a civilian out there listening to this, take your worst day and multiply it by 800. And that's the normal life of a police officer. But we all have that glass, right? This is the normal amount of suffering that you can take in your lifetime. And then for me, anyway, what put me over the edge is my glass was up there, and one incident right over, and I broke. And I did. I broke. And Mike broke. And it sounds like you broke. That's what happens. But where do you go for help? You're the one helping people. Where do you go? You're gonna go to your boss and say, "Hey, listen,
because then you're damaged goods."
Exactly.
You know, and that's one of the problems. Is, like I said, the stress we see as police officers every day, day in and day out. Then you said going home to the family life, the stress there. We eat all that because we're afraid to talk to anybody, even if it's in your department. Because then you're going to be damaged goods, and then you're going to be that person, and you're going to be labeled. Yeah,
you can't take it.
Put on a rubber gun squad, and
well, he is a bitch.
Sometimes
my bitch.